Hello students, good morning. In yesterday's class we completed different types of techniques or some important formulas which we can use to solve problems based on the concept of Mendel. Okay, so we have seen how we can use those things to find out the possibilities for genotypes, for phenotypes, fine. Now till now we have seen all the postulates or concepts which were proposed by Mendel. Okay. Now today we will see some part where Mendelian concepts or the three laws of Mendel's law of dominance. Okay, while teaching that part, I have told that there are some exceptions for law of dominance. Only law of segregation or purity of gamete that is universally accepted. Now today we are going to see interaction among different alleles of a gene or interactions between different genes. Okay. So this is known as gene interaction. Fine. So let's start this gene interaction. Okay. In what way different alleles of a gene, okay, or different genes, they interact each other and give a particular phenotype. Fine. That is known as genetic interactions. Fine. These genetic interactions, they are of two types. Fine. First one, it is known as allelic interaction or intragenic interaction. The first type of gene interaction, it is known as allelic, okay, or intragenic. Allelic or intragenic interactions. Okay. And the second type of gene interaction, it is known as generic, okay, or interallelic. Okay, or we can say it is non-allelic or intergenic. Sorry, non-allelic or intergenic. I will explain meaning of all these terms. Non-allelic or intergenic interactions. Fine. So gene interactions. Now see how these concepts are slightly varying from Mendelism. In case of Mendel's, we know that Mendel's explain each character or each trait, it is controlled by a paired factor. Means there are only two alleles for a particular gene. Okay. The one which is expressed in hybrid, that is known as dominant character. The one which is not expressed, okay, but it remains in F1, that is known as recessive. So there is no interaction among these two. One expresses, one remain hidden. There is no blending at all. Fine. There are some exceptions to this where Mendel's law of dominance, it is not applicable. Okay. As well as Mendel's law of independent assortment, it is also not applicable. So all these come under gene interaction. Now this concept is based on the fact that there are some genes, okay, which have more than two alleles, okay, or there are some traits which are regulated by more than one gene or more than one allele. So all these things where there is an interaction, okay, between two or more alleles of a same gene. Okay, just see what I am telling. The first type in which there is an interaction among alleles of a same gene, that is known as allelic or intragenic. So within a gene, okay, as I told you, there are some genes where they have more than two alleles. Yes, usually one gene has two alternative forms or two alleles. But there are so many genes where genes have more than two alleles also. Okay, so in what way phenotype of such offspring it is determined, that we will see, because those alleles, they interact among themselves to give rise a particular type of phenotype. So the first type of interaction, it is known as allelic interaction or intragenic within gene. So one gene having two or more different alleles. So that type of interaction is known as allelic interaction or intragenic. Fine. Now, whenever particular character, it is regulated by more than one gene. Yes, according to Mendel, every character, it is regulated by one gene. Why? Okay, because at that time Mendel found or he used such features which were regulated by only single pair of gene, okay, or by single pair. Okay, he did not encounter with such genes or such features which were regulated by more than one gene. So whenever there is an interaction among different alleles of different genes, so intergenic meaning between the genes, whereas intragenic meaning within a gene. Okay, so interactions among alleles of a same gene, that is known as allelic interaction, and interaction between alleles of different genes, that is known as non-allelic interactions. Fine. There are some concepts or some phenomena we are going to study under these two headings. So examples of allelic or intragenic interactions, it includes first one that we are going to study, that is incomplete dominance. It is incomplete dominance. Okay. Second example that we are going to study, that is known as codominance. It is known as codominance. Right? The third example, it is known as multiple allelism. Multiple allelism. Okay. The fourth example that we are going to study, that is lethal genes. Okay. The fourth one, lethal gene. And the fifth concept we are going to study under intragenic interaction, that is pleiotropy. Okay. All these are exceptions of Mendel laws. Okay. So wherever that point will come, I will explain it. So under allelic or intragenic interactions, we are going to study these five concepts: incomplete dominance, codominance, multiple allelism, lethal gene, as well as pleiotropy. In this case, different features or different characters, they are regulated by a single gene, but they may have two or more than two alleles. So interactions among these alleles, they are responsible for particular type of phenotype. The examples of non-allelic interaction, that is between different alleles of more than one gene. Okay, so those examples we are going to study, that is complementary gene, complementary genes, then supplementary genes, supplementary genes, and epistasis. Okay, these epistasis is two types. Okay, it is dominant epistasis and recessive epistasis. Fine, we will see all these concepts in detail. Fine. So gene interactions, interactions among different alleles of a gene or alleles of different genes, that is known as genetic interactions or gene interaction. Fine. Now let's start the first example of allelic interaction, that is incomplete dominance. Fine. Incomplete dominance. Okay, we are going to study all these concepts. Fine. Now from this, very few concepts are there for your theory. All concepts are not there for board. So wherever it will come, I will tell you which part you have to prepare for board also. Fine. Now let's start the first one, that is incomplete dominance. Okay, the first example of allelic interaction, it is known as incomplete dominance. Fine. Now incomplete dominance means what? What is mean by incomplete dominance? According to Mendel, we know what is mean by dominance. Fine. Out of two alleles or out of two genotype, the one which is expressed in the F1 generation, we call it as a dominant one. Fine. Whereas the one which is not expressed, it is known as recessive. Fine. Now in case of incomplete dominance, now here this incomplete dominance does not follow the Mendel's law of dominance. Fine. Now in case of incomplete dominance, the phenotype of F1 hybrid, it neither resemble the dominant parent nor resemble the recessive parent. So it shows the intermediate phenotype of both the parents. So it is known as incomplete type of inheritance. And what I am telling, in case of incomplete dominance F1 hybrid or any progeny, okay, it neither resembles the dominant parent, okay, nor resembles the recessive one. It gives the intermediate type of phenotype. There are some examples in which we find the intermediate phenotype, okay, or the intermediate. This is also known as intermediate dominance or incomplete dominance. Some examples I will mention over here. First one, flower color in Antedina majus. Flower color in Antedina majus. Okay, this plant is also known as snapdragon. Okay, flower color in Antedina majus, snapdragon. Another example, flower color in Mirabilis jalapa. Mirabilis jalapa, okay, which is commonly called as 4 o'clock plant. 4 o'clock plant, Gulbakshi, yes. And one more example, feather colors in Andalusian fowls. I will explain inheritance pattern in all these three. But the classical example of incomplete dominance which is mentioned in NCERT, that is a flower color in Antedina majus, also known as snapdragon. Fine. In case of this plant, now let's see what is the inheritance type. Suppose we take the example, as per Mendel, if we take the flower color inheritance in the pea plant, we know that violet color it is dominant over exterior white color. So whenever there is a cross between flowers, violet flower and white flower, all F1 we get these are violet in color. So that shows complete dominance. Fine. In case of Antedina majus as well as Mirabilis, see what is the condition here. If we do a cross, okay, now in case of Antedina, red flowers are dominant over your white flowers. Okay, so red flowers are dominant over white flowers. Fine. The genotype of red flowers, it is capital R, white flowers it is small r. Fine. Now F1, okay, obviously in F1 we get heterozygous. Now according to Mendel, all F1 should get the dominant characteristic, mean all F1 should possess red flowers, but here all flowers in F1 generation they show pink coloration. So this is the intermediate phenotype between red and white. Okay, so red it is also not expressed, while it is not expressed, but the intermediate shade is expressed, that is known as pink. So this is known as incomplete dominance or intermediate dominance. Now this is because of what? This is because of less expression of dominant allele. See, many scientists, when Mendel did his experiment, he refused there is that the concept of blending. Means there is no blending of genes, there is no blending of phenotype. Each and every allele expresses itself separately. So most of the time we say that this is red, this is white. So pink color it is due to blending of these two colors. No, it is not like that. Recessive means it is not expressing. White color means what? There is no color. So there is no expression. This allele is not expressing at all. But presence of this recessive allele, there is a separation in the synthesis of red color. So red color it is suppressed in lower quantity. So the phenotype of this gene, dominant gene, it is suppressed. Because of this, all F1, okay, they get the pink coloration. So it is a less intense effect or less intense phenotype of dominant allele. Fine. So we call it as a incomplete dominance or intermediate dominance. This is not because of blending. This red color and white color, they are formed, they are mixed. No. Recessive means it is not expressed. Fine. Small r gene is not expressing, it is not forming any type of pigment. White coloration means there is no pigment. Fine. Now, if we go for the selfing, now if there is a selfing of F1, if we go for to get the F2 generation, so capital R, small r crossed with capital R, small r. Now, obviously from this easily we can write the progeny capital R, 1 capital R, 2 heterozygous capital R, small r, and 1 small r, small r. So itself it is the genotype. Fine. It is with your normal genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross. Now let's see what is the phenotypic ratio. Okay. In case of Mendel monohybrid cross, the phenotypic ratio it is 3:1. Let's see what is here. This capital R, it will give rise to red color. So one red flower, okay, or one plant with red flower. These heterozygous, obviously they are pink. One dominant and one recessive, whereas one it is white. Okay, so clearly you can see here the phenotypic and genotypic ratios are 1:2, 2:1. Is it varying? Definitely. In case of Mendel, phenotypic ratio it is 3:1. Genotypic ratio it is 1:2, 2:1. Fine. In case of intermediate dominance, both phenotypic and genotypic ratios are 1:2, 2:1 because hybrids they show intermediate phenotype of dominant and recessive parent. So in case of antirrandom matches as well as in case of the Mirabilis jalapa, same type of inheritance pattern is there. Red flowers they are dominant over to white flowers. But F1 or hybrid show the intermediate phenotype, that is the pink one. In F2 generation, both phenotypic and genotypic ratios are same, 1:2, 2:1. So now here again, if question will come, then 1/4 or 25% dominant, 25% recessive, and 50% hybrid. So like yesterday we have solved some questions. According to this, same way if the question comes, then they are 75%. In case of Mendelism, dominant character it is, or the phenotype or the individual, 75% individuals will show dominant feature. Here 25% individuals will show dominant feature, 25% will show recessive, and 50% will show intermediate phenotype. Fine. Then in case of feather color in Andalusian falls also, similar type of inheritance it is seen. In case of this fowl, black color of feather, it is dominant over white color. Okay, in Andalusian fowls, black feathers or black color of feathers is dominant over white feathers. Black feathers are dominant over white feathers. Black color, capital B, small b. Obviously in F1, heterozygous. Now these heterozygous individual, they show blue coloration. That is intermediate shade of black and white. Fine. Because of presence of recessive allele, there is a less expression of this dominant allele that resulting to blue coloration. Fine. So again, if we go for the selfing, capital B, small b, we will get the same type of result. That is 1 homozygous dominant, okay, is to 2 heterozygous, no, 2 hybrid, that is the intermediate phenotype, and 1 again recessive. Fine. Now this is 1 black is to 2 blue is to 1 white. Fine. So in case of incomplete dominance, hybrid or individual offspring shows intermediate expression, okay, which is not similar like dominant to it or not for the recessive. Fine. Now on this for board question can come that compare the effect or the results of incomplete dominance or how incomplete dominance, it varies from the Mendel's law of dominance, okay, or how the inheritance pattern in of flower color in Pisum, it varies from the inheritance of flower color in Antirrhinum majus or in your Mirabilis jalapa. So there you have to write the comparative account. In case of Pisum sativum, there is a complete dominance, whereas in case of Antirrhinum majus, there is a incomplete dominance. So you are supposed to draw the cross, and you have to write the explanation. Fine. So this is the incomplete dominance. Fine. We'll write down what is meant by incomplete dominance. Okay. Both these crosses. You also mention in your notes. Okay. And below that, you just write down incomplete dominance when both factors are present. Now, in incomplete dominance or in this, both factors are present. Both factors are present, but dominant factor is unable to express its characters completely. Unable to express its characters completely, resulting in intermediate phenotype. Okay. Resulted in intermediate or incomplete phenotypes. Fine. So these are the examples. One more it is there, but that I will explain at the time of pleiotropy, because that is a common example for pleiotropy and incomplete dominance. Fine. So that time I will explain that. Okay. Now the next one. Fine. So this is about incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance was first reported by Correns in Mirabilis jalapa. So here you mention by Correns. Okay. So first time we found incomplete dominance in Mirabilis jalapa plant. Fine. So this is incomplete dominance. Now let's see the next one, that is codominance. Incomplete dominance, again it is exception for law of dominance. Fine. Now next one, codominance. Now codominance with what? Both the allele in an individual, they express themselves. See, according to Mendel, out of two alleles, only one allele it is expressed and another allele it remains suppressed. Fine. But there are some cases where both the allele express and they give their respective phenotype. Both the alleles express independent of each other. Fine. That is known as codominance. Yes, we will see some examples of codominance also. So here both alleles of a gene, both the alleles of a gene express for a particular trait, or character in F1. Fine. No blending of characters. Fine. Means both of these alleles, they give their independent phenotypes. So there is no blending of characters. No blending of characters both characters are expressed equally. Both characters are expressed equally, independent of each other. Independent of each other. Fine. Now see, in this case we'll study some examples. Fine. Let's see the first one, that is a coat color in cattles. Fine. The first example, that is coat color in cattles. Fine. Now, in case of cattles, black coloration as well as white coloration, they both are dominant. Fine. So, in case of cattle, the cross between black color and white color, okay, give rise to roan coloration. Okay. Roan means there is a patches of black color also as well as white color also. Fine. So black colored fur or the skin, okay, and white color skin. So both the genes, they are equally dominant. So whenever this individual receive the each gene, from that both the genes or both the alleles, they express independently and that form patches of black coloration as well as white coloration. This coloration is known as roan coloration. Fine. Now in case of F2 generation, again, or when we do the sibling mating, or after sibling mating, this is known as sibling mating cross. Sibling mating cross, we get individuals in the ratio 1:2:1. That is black is to roan is to white in the ratio 1:2:1. So for codominance also, phenotypic ratio, the genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. Fine. See, in case of codominance, two genes are equally dominant. Fine. So whenever two alleles are present, okay, both the alleles express independent of each other, and each of those two alleles, they give their phenotype. Okay. So in case of these cattles, when black color is crossed with white one, in the progeny in F1, that individual will get black colored patch also as well as the white color patch. So you have seen such cattles where there are black color also as well as white colored patches also. But black color and white, it is not mixed to form grey coloration. Okay. Some part of the skin has white hairs, some part has black hairs. Okay. So this patching or this coloration is known as roan coloration. So after selfing, or after, we don't use the word selfing for that, we use it the word that is sibling mating. We get the individuals in the ratios 1:2:1, that is roan. 2 or 50% individuals will be roan, black and white. One more example which is more familiar with you, that is the AB blood group. Yes, last year we have studied example how our blood groups are determined. That time I gave you idea of this type of inheritance, that is in human blood grouping, blood group AB, it is example of codominance. Fine. So another example, blood group AB, okay, or AB blood group. Fine. As you know that these blood groups are determined based on the antigens which are present on the surface of red blood cell. The gene which is responsible for this is known as gene I. If you can recall our last year lesson, body fluid circulation, in that I explained this part, that blood groups are determined by gene I. This gene I has 3 alleles, which itself it is an example of multiple allelism. Fine, that we are going to study afterwards. So in case of blood group AB, we know that A allele, it is dominant or IA allele is dominant, IB allele is also dominant, whereas small I it is recessive. In case of individuals where they have IA and IB alleles, yes, that time IA being dominant expresses, IB also it is dominant, so it also expresses. So on the surface of RBCs we find A antigen as well as B antigen. Fine. So in case of blood group AB, A antigen and B antigen or allele IA as well as IB, they are equally dominant. So both of them they express and give the phenotype for AB. Okay, so I think no need to explain because already we have learned that gene or these blood groups are determined by gene I. This gene I has 3 alleles. Gene I. Okay. This gene I has 3 alleles, that is IA, IB and small I, okay, or IO. Yes, this IA and IB, these are dominant alleles, okay, whereas small I it is recessive allele. Fine. So individual has any 2 of these 3 alleles. So whenever there is a combination of IA and IB allele, both are dominant, so both of them they express themselves forming A antigen as well as B antigen. A and B antigen they never mix up with each other. So that gives rise to AB blood group. Fine. So this is also example of codominance. The third example is carrier of sickle cell anemia. Carrier of sickle cell anemia. Okay. Third example, carrier of sickle cell anemia having genotype HbA, HbS. Yes, now sickle cell anemia, it is a genetic disorder that we are going to see later on. It is a genetic disorder in which there is can say it is a qualitative inheritance or the qualitative type of inheritance where there is defect in the hemoglobin structure. So under low oxygen tension, RBC change their shape, hemoglobin undergo polymerization. Okay, oxygen change of the shape of RBC from disc shape, it become moon shape. So while moving through the blood vessel, it just get trapped or clogged inside the blood vessel, that result into anemic condition. This is a recessive type of inheritance. So expressed in an individual where individual has both the recessive alleles. So in case of heterozygous, so HbA it is a normal type of gene for hemoglobin, HbS it is the affected one. So in heterozygous 50% hemoglobin will be normal, whereas 50% hemoglobin will be affected. So individuals which are carrier, we call them as a carrier because they are not affected, okay, but they are carrier of the trait to the next generation. These terms you will learn afterwards. So carrier means individual is not affected but is responsible to carry the affected allele to the next generation. So we call them as a carrier. So HbA it is for the normal hemoglobin, HbA that is for the sickle cell anemia. So 50% hemoglobin will be normal, 50% hemoglobin will be affected. So this is also example of codominance. Fine. So first we have seen incomplete dominance. The second one that is codominance. Fine. Now let's see the next one. That is multiple allelism. Okay. The next type of interaction, allelic interaction, that is multiple allelism. Just now I told about blood group system. Okay. So, but here now ABO blood group system. Only if in exam it comes AB blood group system, it is example of codominance. But ABO blood group system, it is example of multiple allelism. Fine. So third one is known as multiple allelism or multiple alleles. Again, this is also exception for Mendelism. What Mendel said, every trait or character, it is controlled by paired factors. Means there is a pair of allele. every gene has two alternative forms. Fine. So here, according to this concept, there are some examples in which particular trait or gene has more than two alleles. So that is known as multiple allelism. Out of these many alleles, individual gets any two because we have homologous chromosome. Fine. So these genes are located at the same locus. So although there are 3 alleles, 4 alleles, 5 alleles in nature, fine, but from that every individual gets only 2 alleles. So there is a variation in the phenotype, human eye, coloration in human eye, fine. This is also fine. We have a shade of dark brown to light gray. Okay, only one gene is responsible for with the many for that. So that is known as multiple allelism. Fine. So in multiple allelism, more than 2 alternative forms, multiple alleles, more than 2 alternative forms, more than 2 alternative forms of same gene of a same gene. Okay. Now these many alleles are formed due to mutation. Fine. There are more than 2 alternative forms for a same gene in nature, but individual gets any 2, and these multiple alleles are formed because of mutations in different genes. So forms due to mutation. Formed due to mutation. Now these alleles, they are located on the same locus of homologous chromosome. Located on same locus of homologous chromosome. Same locus of homologous chromosomes. Fine. Now, diploid individuals contain, or diploid individuals have any 2 alleles. Any 2 means it depends on the inheritance pattern. It depends on the parents. Fine. So diploid organism has any 2 alleles. Fine. The number of possible genotypes, number of possible genotypes equal to n into bracket n plus 1 upon 2. Just add this formula in your list. As I told you, this is the exception for Mendelism, where one gene has more than 2 alleles. So question can come like this in case of multiple allelism, or suppose one gene has 10 different alleles, then how many possible genotypes are possible? Right? So for that number of possible genotypes, there is a formula which we can use, that is n into bracket n plus 1 upon 2. Fine. This formula you can use for this. The examples which we are going to study, the first example, example first, that is ABO blood group system. ABO blood group system. ABO blood group system. Fine. This also we have learned last year. So I will explain this again. In case of ABO blood group system, we know that our blood group system is determined by gene I. Fine. ABO blood group system, it is determined by gene I, or in humans or in animal blood group are determined by gene I. This gene I has 3 alleles in nature. Okay. Naturally there are 3 alleles. Just now I explained, there is IA allele, there is a IB allele, and there is a IO or small I. Fine. 3 alleles. Diploid organism gets any 2 of this. Fine. From this, IA is dominant over small I, IB is dominant over small I. See, so in ABO blood group system, let's see how many possible genotypes and how many phenotypes are possible. Finally, Okay, fine. Now in case of the ABO blood group system, as I told you, ABO blood group system, it is regulated by gene I. There is a single gene which regulates, okay, different types of blood groups, which has three alleles, IA, IB and small I. Now let's see from this how many possible genotypes we get. If we consider that each individual gets any two types of allele, so we can get either small I, IA, okay, IA, yes, or IA, IB, okay, or for A blood group, if we say there are two types of possible genotype, IA, IB, IA small I. This will give rise to blood group A. For blood group B, there are two possible genotypes, IB, or IB and small I will give rise to B blood group. For AB blood group, only one genotype, that is IA and IB. In the same way for blood group O, there is small I and small I. Fine. So, in case of multiple allelism for blood group, where one gene it has three alleles, 6 possible genotypes which give rise to 4 phenotype. Fine. The same, or if we put this information here, we will also see that as many number of alleles. So here how many alleles are there? 3 alleles are there. Okay. So if we put 3 over here, okay, we will get that is 6. So in case of ABO blood group system, number of possible genotypes are 6. Okay, whereas phenotypes, so the 6 genotypes give rise to 4 phenotypes. This question can be asked for theory also. So in case of ABO blood group system, 6 possible genotypes could give rise to 4 possible phenotypes. Fine. The another example of in multiple allelism, that is coat color in rabbit. Okay, in rabbit you have seen different types of coat color. Some rabbits are totally white in color, some are brown in color, in some toes, fingers, mouth, okay, some part of body they are black in color. Okay, so in case of coat color or the coat color of rabbit, it is also regulated by 4 different alleles or a single gene, that is gene C. It has 4 different alleles. So the example, second example, that is coat color in rabbit. Right? In rabbit, it is regulated by 4 alleles. Okay? In ABO blood group system, there were 3 alleles. Okay? But in case of coat color in rabbit, there are 4 alleles which are responsible for different types of coat colors. Now let's see which are those alleles. Yes. Now there are the first type of fur color which we get, this is brown fur. Okay, brown furred rabbit. This is a wild one. Okay, and it has dominant gene, that is dominant C. The second we get, that is the chinchilla. Okay, it is black tipped or white fur having black colored tips. So black tipped, white fur, black tipped white fur. It can be expressed condition, or the allele for this is CCH, that is CH is for chinchilla. Then the third one, that is Himalayan, where rabbits have white fur with black paws, nose with black paws, nose, nails, tail, ears. So the allele for this it is CH, that is Himalayan. The fourth one that is albino, that is white fur. For this the allele is recessive. So small c. If we see the sequence or if we see the dominancy of this allele, so this capital C, it is dominant over, or this single C, it is dominant over your chinchilla. Okay, it is dominant over Himalayan, and which is dominant over albino. So albino, it is the recessive one. More than albino, who has dominancy, that is Himalayan. More than Himalayan, who has dominancy, that is a chinchilla. And more than chinchilla, there it is a wild one, that is brown fur. Now, the degree of dominance or the phenotypic expression, it depends upon the alleles. For example, if the rabbits get CH and C allele, fine. Now, in this, who is dominant? CH. So, all F1 or all individuals would get Himalayan type of phenotype. If the individual gets CCH and CH alleles, then who will be dominant in this case? Obviously, chinchilla. So, all will get chinchilla type of fur. If the rabbit has capital C and CCH, then obviously C, it is dominant, capital C is dominant. So, all rabbits will get brown colored fur. Fine. So, again here, it depends upon the type of alleles are present in that rabbit. So, there are different types of genotypes which give rise to phenotype. So, the phenotype of a rabbit, it depends upon the dominancy or the nature of dominant allele present in that organism. But the degree of dominancy, it is like this. If these two alleles are present, the rabbit will get Himalayan type of fur. If these two genes or if these two alleles are present, rabbit will get the chinchilla type of fur. And if these two are present, then rabbit will get the brown color fur, which is the dominant one. Fine. So, as this coat color, it is regulated by 4 different alleles. This is the example of multiple allelisms. Yeah, according to Mendel, every character is governed by 2 alleles. So this is the exception for this. There are some features, so there are some traits which are or in which gene has more than 2 alleles. So this is the multiple allelism. Fine. Now let's see the next type of interaction, that is lethal genes. Okay. Fourth one, that is lethal genes. Now obviously its name suggests that something it is dangerous. Okay, so lethal genes. So whenever genes or the alleles are present in homozygous condition, either homozygous dominant or homozygous recessive, that is lethal. Okay, it is harmful. So organisms die usually. So lethal genes in homozygous condition causes death of individual. Fourth one, lethal genes. Okay. In case of lethal genes, alleles or genes in homozygous condition causes death of an organism. Genes in homozygous condition, genes in homozygous condition. Now these homozygous condition, either homozygous dominant or recessive. Okay, either dominant or recessive in both the cases. Either dominant or recessive causes death of organism. Causes death of organism. Okay. Mostly, so these genes, it could be dominant or recessive for the lethality. Okay. Now they were discovered by L. Cunot. Discovered by L. Cunot in coat color of mice. In coat color of mice. So first example we will discuss of lethality or the lethal gene, that is coat color in mice. Fine. Now here what happened? In case of coat color in mice, yellow coat color or the gene for yellow coat color, it is dominant over brown or black. Fine. So the gene for yellow is dominant over brown. Yellow, capital Y, is dominant over brown. Okay, which is regulated by small y. Here yellow gene, it is lethal. So homozygous yellow, they are not found in the population. Fine. What I told you, a lethal gene whenever it is present in homozygous condition. Okay, this lethality or lethal gene, it could be dominant or it could be recessive. In case of coat color in mice, the white color of skin or the fur, it is dominant one. So whenever it is present in homozygous condition, that causes the death of rat. Okay, so here there are no yellow colored mice which occur in the population. So if we go for the cross, and now for cross there are no homozygous dominant, we will get heterozygous. So a cross between the yellow gene is dominant, it is lethal, yellow gene is lethal. Okay, so no homozygous yellow, so no homozygous yellow in population. So if we make a cross between heterozygous, capital Y, small y, crossed with capital Y, small y, fine. If we go for a Punnett square, capital Y, small y, capital Y, small y. Okay, now just see this ratio. Now here dominant gene, it is a lethal gene. So we will not get dominant capital Y individual. So here a ratio will be different. This individual will die. So we will get only two types, that is these two heterozygous and one that is recessive. So the ratio in case of lethal gene, it is different than our normal F1. So here ratio we will get, that is 2:1. So the ratio, so the dominant one, so yellow will not be there. So F1 ratio, it is modified into 2:1. So in lethal genes, the genotypic ratio, it is modified to 2:1. Okay. In case of normal monohybrid cross, it is 1:2:1. But here, because of presence of homozygous lethal gene, individuals die. So that modifies the ratio from 1:2:1 to 2:1. Fine. So this is known as lethal gene. We'll see one more example of lethal gene in plants also. It is for the snapdragon or your Antirrhinum majus. In case of Antirrhinum majus, the gene for golden leaves, it's not exactly golden, slightly yellowish golden leaves, it is dominant over green leaves. Fine. So in case of snapdragon, that is Antirrhinum majus, first time observed by E. Boer. So leaf color in snapdragon, studied by E. Boer, In case of snapdragon, yellow or the golden color leaves, the gene for golden leaves, capital G, is lethal. Okay, and it is dominant, whereas green leaves, it is recessive. Fine. So obviously dominant one, that is capital G individuals will not survive. So plants with golden leaves we will not get. In the same way like our mice over there. So here also in a population, We will not get capital G individual. So again in a cross between heterozygous, dominant individuals will die. Fine. So we will get 2:1 modified ratio. Fine. So in case of lethal gene, the genotypic ratio it is modified to 2:1. So Snapdragon, in case of plants also lethal genes are found. Right? And the last example of allelic interaction, that is a pleiotropy. So today we will complete this pleiotropy and then we will stop. Right? Fifth one, pleiotropy. Now pleiotropy means what? Pleiotropy means one gene gives rise to more than one phenotype. That is known as pleiotropy. Or single gene it gives rise to multiple phenotypes. Yeah? According to Mendel, each trait or each feature is regulated by a single gene. But there are some cases where one gene can control more than one phenotypic expression. That is known as pleiotropy. Most of the time students get confused between multiple allelism and pleiotropy. In case of multiple allelism, there is only one gene which has multiple alleles, but every diploid individual has any two of that. So phenotype it is fixed for those alleles. In case of pleiotropy, one gene can produce more phenotypes. So one gene, one phenotype, it is not applicable here. One gene could give rise to multiple phenotypes. That is known as pleiotropy. Right? So the fifth one, it is pleiotropy. Pleiotropy. Fine. So pleiotropy means gene control more than one phenotypes or more than one character. A single gene controls more than one character. Single gene control more than one character. So it shows more types of phenotypic effects or multiple phenotypic effect. Shows multiple phenotypic effects. Okay, we'll see some examples. In case of pea plants, okay, first example we'll see. See, we know that the 7 contrasting traits which Mendel used. Fine. After that also, so many scientists work on Mendel, and they found so many scientists have worked on the pea plant, and they found that in pea plant also there are so many genes which can control several morphological or the several phenotypic expression. So in pea plant, a single gene can control multiple phenotypes like seed coat color. The same gene can control red spot in axial of leaf. Red spot in axial of leaf, as well as it is responsible for flower color. Fine. So single gene is responsible for different phenotypes. The another example of pleiotropy we'll see in pea plants only. That is the starch grain size. Fine. The gene which is responsible for size of starch grain, it is also responsible for shape of seed. Fine. And this is example of intermediate dominant also that I will explain now. In case of pea plants, starch grain size. Fine. In case of pea plant, there is a dominant gene, that is B. The gene B, in homozygous condition, it forms large size starch grain. Okay. So whenever B gene is present in dominant condition, it gives rise to large size starch grain. Whereas whenever it is present in homozygous recessive, that time it forms small size starch grains. Fine. Now, in a cross between these two plants, obviously we will get heterozygotes. Okay. These heterozygotes are intermediate size. So, in heterozygous, starch grains are of intermediate size. Okay. Now you will ask me that, madam, here you have taken larger one, here smaller. This is intermediate. Means this is an example of intermediate dominance. Yes, it is with respect to genotype. Fine, intermediate. But this larger size starch grain will give round shape to seed. So large starch grain. So these seeds, they appear round in shape. The small size starch grain, because of these seeds, appear wrinkled in shape. Fine. So I told you this is example of incomplete dominance also, as well as pleiotropy. Why incomplete dominance? Because when a cross between large size starch grains and small size starch grain, we get intermediate size starch grain. So this is example of incomplete dominance. But how it is pleiotropy? When the seed has large size starch grain, then the shape of seed, it is round. Mean a round shape of seed as well as size of starch grain, it is regulated by gene B. Here also small size starch grain and wrinkled shape of seed, that is regulated by gene B. So one gene which gives two different phenotypes. One that is the size of starch grain and another that is shape of seed. So it is example of pleiotropy. Fine. So starch grain size in P, it is also example of pleiotropy. The third example, that is sickle cell anemia. Okay, I'll rub this. Sickle cell anemia. Okay, sickle cell anemia we are taken for codominance also. Sickle cell anemia, which is an autosomal recessive disorder. Third example, sickle cell anemia is inheritance pattern. We will see later on when we will see the genetic disorders. So sickle cell anemia, it is an autosomal recessive disorder. Autosomal recessive. Fine. Now, already we have seen sickle cell anemia. It is example of codominance also, because the heterozygous individuals, they have 50% normal hemoglobin and 50% affected hemoglobin. It is also example of pleiotropy. Why? Now, sickle cell anemia patients, obviously if there is a less concentration of oxygen in body, if there is an anemic condition, along with this, the person would suffer from number of disorders. Obviously, you can also think if there is a less amount of oxygen in the body, it will lead to damage to the organs. Fine. Okay, so different types of disorders, or the person in, or those people who are affected by sickle cell anemia, they are prone to different types of other symptoms or other disorders also. So single gene is responsible for number of phenotypes. So it is example of sickle cell anemia. It is also found that patients suffering from sickle cell anemia, they are not get affected by malaria, because of the moon shape of the RBC, the pathogen, it is not able to multiply in their red blood cell. Okay, so this is one benefit of those people, that they are not getting infected by the malarial parasite. So sickle cell anemia, so gene HBS, it is sickle cell anemia. It is not only hemolytic anemia. Gene HBS does not result only in hemolytic anemia, but also result in result in increased resistance to malarial parasite, increased resistance to malarial parasite. It also affects on, or this condition also affects on several organs, on development of many tissues and organs, like bones, kidneys, spleen, etc. So it damages different organs also. Yes. So not only the single one, that is instead of, or this is responsible for hemolytic anemia. Yes. The gene or the sickle cell anemia in the autosomal recessive genes, they are responsible for hemolytic anemia. But along with this, because of low tension or low pressure of oxygen, it causes a damage to different organs. Fine. It also increases resistance to the malarial parasite, because malarial parasite is not able to grow in the sickle shaped RBCs. Fine. So today we discussed allelic interaction, okay, intra-allelic interactions. Again, all these are exceptions of Mendelism. Number of questions can be asked. So today we completed this part. Tomorrow we will see non-allelic or intergenic interaction. Fine. So just revise this again. From this, incomplete dominance, codominance and pleiotropy, this is there for your study. And remaining things, all these examples are not mentioned, but you should know this example because MCQ can come in any way. Fine. So I hope you all have understood. If you have any doubts, just ask me. I will include that out in the next video.